let's get into the second main topic. The second main topic is one I hinted at during the weekly recap, which is some OL players, that's Olympique Lyonnais, might be coming to OL Reign for the 2021 NWSL season, which I'm shaking just thinking about it. I'm so excited. So, per Jeff Kassouf and Meredith Cash, I found this out on Twitter. Twitter's becoming a really good source of information for women's soccer. I don't know why. I'm cool with it though. But according to the two of them, between the two of them, at least the information I got, there are three players in question that could be going from Olympique Lyonnais to Olympique Reign. Sarah Bouhadi, the French goalkeeper, Jennifer Murrelson, the German midfielder. I believe she's an attacking midfielder. I probably butchered her last name too, so I'm sorry, guys, if you know how to pronounce her name and I mispronounced it. And then third, Wendy Renard, who is a defender. I would argue she's a holding midfielder, but that's a whole nother topic for another time. It looks like two of them are going to be headed over to OL Reign in the future. Apparently, for those of you guys who don't know this, Olympique Lyonnais owns an NWSL team. That NWSL team, like I said earlier, is Olympique Reign. And what this essentially does is it creates a ton of flexibility for the Olympique Lyonnais club in that they can send players between the clubs at will, essentially. So that this is where that is coming into play. It's almost the concept of a feeder club, right? One club owns a ton of other smaller clubs at which they derive from, and they might ship their players over to them. So that's kind of what's happening here. A couple players from Olympique Lyonnais, the big parent club, are sending a couple players over to the club that they own, which is Olympique Reign of the NWSL. So that's just a little bit of aside on that as well. It's a really fascinating topic that I've touched on, and actually in the first podcast episode I ever did, I touched upon that. It's something I could go into for hours, but it wouldn't really be applicable to this situation. But let's just talk about some initial thoughts on this. So, actually, let me back up a little bit. This is baked into the players' contracts for Olympique Lyonnais, which I thought was really fascinating. I believe there must be some clause in their contract that says if Olympique Lyonnais decides to ship you off to Olympique Reign, since this is the parent club and that is the child club, you have to go. It's baked into their contract. That's just kind of how it goes, that they can do that. So I've never looked at these players' contracts, don't get me wrong, but when it's coming from a source like Jeff Kassouf, I rarely have any qualms with that. So there's that. But however, overall thoughts. I am so pumped. I am not complaining at all. If Olympique Lyonnais wants to send their whole squad over to OL Reign, please be my guest, because the NWSL could use all the star power it can get. I would absolutely love to see more world-class players make it into this league and provide amazing entertainment, draw more fans, get the fan bases growing, give more money to this club so all these ladies can get paid more money and fans can flourish and we can get as many good experiences as we want. I think this is absolutely phenomenal. And I'm looking forward to seeing them play this NWSL season if it ends up going down, because, of course, we hear a lot of reports, we hear a lot of things. Sometimes things just fall through, but however, it sounds like this is becoming more of a reality by the day. But you might be thinking to yourselves, why would Olympique Lyonnais do this? Why would they send some of their best players? Because, I mean, Sarah Bouhadi, Morotzen, and Wendy Renard are some of the world's best players. All three of them play for their international clubs, and I would contend are like top 20 players in the world. Why would they ever want to give them up? Well, in terms of the team, I wasn't able to dig too deep into this, but I will say this. By Olympique Lyonnais owning a team in the NWSL, I think they're capitalizing on a growing market. There is no doubt in my mind that the NWSL in the United States is growing. They're growing slowly, but they're growing surely. And I think that Olympique Lyonnais is trying to get into this market while it's cheap. They could probably buy Olympique Reign cheaper now than it would be in 10, 20 years from now when it becomes bigger and the NWSL becomes huge. So I think that's a big reason why they're doing it, is to kind of get a hold in this market. Well, and by doing so, by getting a hold of this market early, they can attract a bigger fan base early, and the sooner they can start that growth. How do you start that growth? You get big names, it grabs a lot of eyes, it grabs a lot of fans, it grabs a lot of ticket sales, the like. The money makes the world go round and round. So I think this is where it really helps Olympique Lyonnais. It essentially, at the end of the day, it comes down to money. That's just kind of the reality of it. But if we as fans benefit from it, I've got no problem with it. Also, too, it allows them to kind of hold on to more world-class talent. Let me explain. Olympique Lyonnais, you would argue, is a case of too many cooks in the kitchen. I invite you to go look at their roster. It's insanely stacked. They've got every world-class, world's best striker, midfielder, defender, and goalkeeper you can possibly imagine. And so when you've got that much world-class talent, at some point, you've got too many cooks in the kitchen. You've got too much world-class talent. Not all of them can play. a lot of them know they're world-class talent. They're like, well, what the heck? Why didn't I just leave? So instead of having them leave, what they can do is they could say, okay, you might not be playing a lot here, but you can go to another one of our big clubs overseas, in this case, OL Reign. Thereby, they hang on to that world-class talent, which attracts more fans, which attracts more money, etc., and so forth. It allows them to keep more cooks and expand their kitchen. So essentially, what they're doing is they're keeping all their cooks, but making their kitchen bigger. So I think that's really fascinating. I think that's actually kind of brilliant. And if it benefits us as fans, who cares? And also, this allows them for a more bigger global appeal. I would say that Olympique Lyonnais is one of the biggest names in women's football, but if you expand the name Olympic L something OL, it draws more eyes, it draws more global brands. Then you start getting to the points where you're the Manchester Uniteds, the PSGs, the Juventus, the Real Madrid, Barcelona. It just helps draw the brand. The more reach you've got, this is expanding that reach. So the flip side of the coin is, does this help the NWSL? Hell yes. You get to see more world class players. I've already kind of touched on this a little bit, so this might be overkill, but it gives more competition in the league. It makes it a lot more competitive. It makes it a lot more exciting. I don't know about you guys. I'm really sick of Portland and the North Carolina Courage dominating the league each and every season. It's getting old. I'm excited for new teams like the Houston Dash, the Chicago Red Stars of the world to start making up and coming runs and start winning the league because, man, I'm so tired of seeing the the Thorns and the Courage just dominate and world beat every year. It's insane. And the good part about this is it's like, okay, this really contributes, I believe, to the NWSL growing as a whole. For those of you who don't know, I could make a thesis paper on this, but the NWSL is adopting this strategy where they're trying to grow slowly over time. They're trying not to overkill it. They're not trying to grow too fast. Some if you guys remember years ago, we used to have the WPS, which is the Women's Professional Soccer League, I think it was. And what happened was is they gave players too much money and they built too big of stadiums. They just went too big too quickly. And when you do that and you don't have the fan base or the money to back that up, the league naturally runs out of money and it folds. So the NWSL, I think, is taking the right approach and slowly growing the league over time, thereby incrementally increasing the amount of money the players get paid, the amount of money that's exchanged amongst clubs, the amount of money that they can go out to overseas players and buy. It's slowly growing over time, and I think that Olympique Lyonnais sending players from their club to Olympic Reign in the NWSL is just excellent support for that. It's slowly growing the league over time because you're increasing the talent in that football club, and it makes more contenders, and it's really, really exciting. So if I had to sum it up, guys, I think this is absolutely fantastic for the NWSL and for all parties involved. But I want to know, what do you guys think about this going on? Do you think it'll still happen? Do you think it's just mumbo jumbo? Feel free to jump down in the comments below and let me know what you think. All right, guys. So with the second main topic